It was supposed to be one night. That's all I told myself. It was late when I checked in, close to midnight. The lobby was quiet, but not in a peaceful way, more like everything had already settled for the night and I had shown up too late to belong there. The woman at the front desk didn't look surprised to see me. That was the first thing I noticed. Most places at that hour, they at least pretend to be alert. She didn't. She just looked tired, like she'd already been dealing with something long before I walked in. "Room 417, she said. She slid the keycard across the desk, then she hesitated, just for a second. "If you hear anything," she said quietly, "don't answer the door." I remember thinking that was a strange thing to say, not funny, not a joke, just out of place. I didn't ask what she meant, I just took the key and went upstairs. The fourth floor was dim, not dark, just not fully lit, like half the lights had burned out and nobody bothered to replace them. My room was at the end of the hall. As I walked down, I noticed something that didn't make sense. Every door I passed had a "Do Not Disturb" sign hanging on it. Every single one. I remember counting them, 1, 2, 3, all the way down. I didn't think much of it at the time, just figured it was a busy night. Inside my room, everything looked normal. Bed made, TV off, bathroom clean. I locked the door, set the latch, dropped my bag. I checked the room out of habit. Closet, empty. Bathroom, empty. Behind the curtains, nothing. Everything felt fine. I laid down for a bit, scrolling on my phone, trying to relax. That's when I heard the first knock. 3 times, even, not loud. I looked at the time, 1:12 a.m. I didn't move at first, just listened. Then it came again, same 3 knocks. I got up slowly and walked to the door. I didn't open it, I just looked through the peephole. There was a man standing in the hallway, tall, wearing normal clothes, nothing strange about him. He wasn't looking at the door, he was just standing there, facing forward, waiting. I didn't say anything, didn't move. After a few seconds, he turned slightly toward the door and spoke. "Wrong room." Then he walked away, just like that. I stood there for a while before going back to bed. I told myself it was nothing. Someone confused, drunk, went to the wrong room. But something about the way he said it, "wrong room," felt like it wasn't for him. I didn't sleep much after that. Around 2:30, I got up to get water. As I passed the door, I noticed something. The "Do Not Disturb" sign on my door handle was facing the wrong way. I hadn't touched it. I opened the door slightly and looked out. The hallway was empty, but the signs, every single one of them was gone. All the doors were bare now. No signs, no noise, nothing. I closed the door immediately and locked it again. That's when I decided I was leaving. I grabbed my bag and headed downstairs. The front desk woman was still there. Same position, same expression. I told her I wanted to check out, right then. She didn't argue, didn't ask why. She just looked at the screen, then looked back at me. "You were in 417, she said. I nodded. She frowned slightly. "That's not possible." I felt my stomach drop. I told her that was the room she gave me. She shook her head slowly. 417 hasn't been used in years." I didn't even respond. I just stared at her. She turned the monitor slightly toward me. The screen showed the 4th floor, room numbers listed in order. Then it skipped. No 417. I told her I had just come from it, that I slept in it, that someone knocked on my door. She didn't react, not surprised, not confused, just quiet. Then she said something I still think about. "Did he tell you it was the wrong room?" I didn't answer, because I hadn't told her that part. I left after that, didn't go back, didn't ask questions. But a few days later, I checked my email. The hotel had sent me my receipt. It listed my stay, the date, the time, and the room number. Not 417. I called the hotel, tried to ask about it. The number was disconnected, and when I looked it up again, the building wasn't listed anymore. Not closed, not under renovation, just gone, like it was never there at all. We only booked that hotel because it had a pool. That's what my kids cared about. We'd been driving all day, me, my wife, and our 2 kids, 6 and 4, and by the time we hit the city, it was already dark. Everyone was tired, irritable, hungry, the usual. So when we saw the place off the highway with a big sign that said "Indoor Pool Open," that was it. Decision made. It wasn't a bad hotel, older but clean. Front desk guy was polite, gave the kids each a little packet of cookies, made a joke about how they'd probably be bouncing off the walls after sugar and pool time. Everything felt normal. Our room was on the 3rd floor. 2 beds, small couch, nothing special. We dropped our bags, got the kids changed, and went straight to the pool. There was nobody else down there, which was weird for a hotel pool at night, but honestly, it felt kind of nice. The kids had the whole place to themselves. They were laughing, jumping in, splashing, just being kids. My wife sat in one of the chairs scrolling her phone. I stayed near the edge, just watching them. After a while, my daughter, she's the younger one, came over and said something that didn't make sense. She pointed toward the deep end and said, "Daddy, that boy keeps going under too long." I looked. There was no one there, just the reflection of the overhead lights on the water. I told her she probably saw her own reflection or something. She didn't argue, just went back to playing. A few minutes later, my son got out and said he wanted to go back to the room. He looked off. Not scared exactly, just quiet. I asked him what was wrong. He shrugged and said, "I don't like when they whisper." That hit different, because kids don't usually make things up like that out of nowhere. They describe what they think they hear. I asked him who was whispering. He pointed toward the wall by the lockers. There was nothing there, no one else in the room, no doors opening, no voices. I told my wife we should probably head back up, just chalked it up to them being tired. We got them dried off, changed, and went back to the room. Everything was fine again. The kids were back to normal. We turned on a movie, ordered food, just tried to settle in. Around 10:30, we put them to bed. My son fell asleep almost instantly. My daughter took a little longer, but eventually she was out too. That's when it got quiet. The kind of quiet you only notice when the kids finally stop moving. My wife was in the bathroom getting ready for bed when I heard something from the other side of the room, a soft voice. At first, I thought it was the TV, but it was off. Then I thought it was one of the kids talking in their sleep, so I walked over. My daughter was asleep, completely still, but the voice didn't stop. It wasn't coming from her. It was coming from the space between the beds. I stood there trying to figure out what I was hearing. It wasn't clear words, just soft, low whispering. Then it stopped, all at once. My wife came out of the bathroom and asked what I was doing. I told her nothing, didn't want to freak her out. We went to bed. Sometime in the middle of the night, I woke up to movement. My son was standing at the foot of our bed, just standing there, looking at me. I sat up and asked him what was wrong. He didn't answer right away. Then he said, "They don't want us here." I felt that drop in my chest, the kind you can't explain. I asked him who. He looked back toward the other bed. My daughter was still asleep, but her blanket was slowly sliding off. Not falling, not shifting, sliding, like something underneath it was moving. I got out of bed immediately, pulled the blanket back. Nothing there. She didn't wake up, didn't react, but her arm was cold, way colder than it should have been. We didn't stay after that. Packed everything right then, didn't even check out, just grabbed the kids and left. The next morning I called the hotel, asked if anything had ever happened in that room. The woman on the phone paused, then said, "No, sir, nothing unusual." Then she asked me something I didn't expect. "Did your kids go to the pool?" I said, "Yeah." Another pause. Then she said, "We usually keep that closed at night." I told her it was open when we were there, lights on, door unlocked. She didn't respond right away. Then she said, "It hasn't been open in over a year." I didn't argue, didn't try to explain. But later that day, when we stopped for gas, my daughter asked me something that I still think about. She said, "Why didn't you help him?" I asked her who, and she said, "The boy in the pool." Then she added, "He said he couldn't get out."